Okay, everyone, entertainment news today, and it's all about Netflix. Now, there's a story in Variety that says early pre production has been halted because of budgetary concerns about the Hannibal historical war movie starring Denzel Washington and directed by Antoine Fuqua. Now, the movie is about Hannibal, the Carthaginian general. He was a great nemesis of the ancient Roman Empire. Now, he famously sought to attack Rome by marching 37 elephants across the Alps and into northern Italy. So, that's very dramatic. Now, he did those sorts of things to strike fear and to sow confusion among the mighty Roman legions. Now, Hannibal was considered one of the great villains of ancient Rome. According to reports, the movie isn't a biopic per se, but just covers key battles against the Roman legions during the Second Punic War, which took place around 200 BC. So potentially there could be a sequel that covers the death of Hannibal, and that would be an acting tour de force by Denzel Washington. Now, one of his recent films was Highest to Lowest with director Spike Lee for Apple TV Studios. Now, I thought the director's approach to the film was cautious, but Denzel Washington threw himself into the role and he was riveting on screen as always, so powerful. And now he's producing and starring in the Hannibal film with proven hitmaker Antoine Fuqua, who did such a fabulous job directing the Equalizer films and the Magnificent Seven remake, also starring Denzel Washington. So the reporting says early pre-production has been halted because of budgetary concerns. Now, that's shocking to me. The budget is being negotiated with the studio, which is Netflix. And I'm quoting from the report. The hope is for the project to move forward at Netflix once the concerns are addressed. They're hoping. Now, maybe that was just thrown in there as a negotiating tactic. The script was written by John Logan, who wrote Gladiator. I believe that a lot of folks want to watch this film. Now, Netflix just lost the chance to buy Warner Brothers, let's recall, because Netflix thought that its creative team was superior and the best fit for Warner Brothers, and so Netflix thought it didn't need to match the superior financial offer that Paramount Skydance brought to the table. So, my view on this is that Netflix might be slipping just a bit here. Is Netflix getting too comfortable? What's going on? By saying that the hope is that the project will move forward at Netflix, Netflix is at risk of losing the project, maybe to Apple TV Studios or Amazon MGM. Now, those are two studios that are spending lots of money on blockbuster quality projects. And I'll emphasize that Apple TV Studios and Amazon MGM are not wholly dependent on film and TV for their revenue, and that's key. Apple has computer products, Amazon is the biggest online retailer, and right now, the only differentiator, in my view, which might give Netflix an edge over Apple TV Studios and Amazon MGM Studios, is that Netflix has a better homepage. I'm sorry to be so blunt. And maybe I'm wrong about that, okay? In my view, the Netflix start screen has all of the best movie and TV show recommendations featured up front, and those properties rotate, and that just makes the process easier for consumers. Now, the Apple TV Studios and Amazon Prime Video home screens don't always bother to organize and present what they have to offer. I'll also mention, I want to watch Denzel Washington play Hannibal, the Carthaginian general. Now, there's a controversy out there about historical accuracy because Hannibal was from Tunisia and Denzel Washington isn't from Tunisia. Now, my thought on this is that casting is done to increase a movie's marketability, and casting an A-list actor in the starring role is done for financial reasons, okay? I'm not aware of any A-list actors of Tunisian background who could play the role. Now, if there are, please excuse my ignorance. It's not intentional. I'm just speaking now as a moviegoer. I'm a fan of Denzel Washington, and I want to watch him in the role. He's an actor, not a documentarian. Okay, he brings his own spirit and interpretation to the role. That's what audiences want to watch, not a documentary about the life of Hannibal. Now, if some folks from Tunisia are upset because there aren't enough opportunities for Tunisian actors, I support their right to speak up about it. But what if the shoe were on the other foot, so to speak? Let's think about that. The Tunisian film industry isn't well known. So, what if a Tunisian actor moved to the United States to try to work in Hollywood? Now, I would support his or her right to compete for and to be hired to play roles that were written for Americans, like Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman or Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. Now, in all probability, if the role of Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, had to be played by a Tunisian actor, the film wouldn't get made. Now, I'll emphasize, I don't know if online rage about casting in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey film is playing a role in Netflix being nervous about the budget. If it is, Netflix has misconstrued the issue and its analysis is off. Because a Hannibal film starring Denzel Washington is different from your garden variety Netflix movie. Okay, Netflix can make a lot of those movies on the cheap, and it does, and those projects will have no impact ultimately. Those projects don't create long term value. So let's not compare apples and oranges, and in my view, the Odyssey film will be a summer blockbuster. If it isn't boring, it should do well with audiences who want to go to the movie theater in the summer. I've said before on this channel that the second trailer for the Odyssey is much better than the first, a vast improvement, though lagging behind the House of the Dragon Season 3 trailer. When I watched the House of the Dragon Season 3 trailer, I was just stunned, okay? It could be the biggest entertainment event of the summer, and I'll emphasize, House of the Dragon is from HBO Max, which Netflix tried to buy through an acquisition of Warner Brothers, but Netflix refused to match Paramount Skydance's offer for Warner Brothers. So now Paramount has HBO Max and House of the Dragon instead of Netflix having those properties. As I mentioned, maybe Netflix is slipping. It seems to be on a losing streak, and the recent concerns about the budget for the Hannibal film is just the latest indication. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.